Straight cash, homie.
Would you please break the damn story?
He took it out.
Oh, for you.
It's a Wednesday, PFT OT, also for audio purposes, PFT PM. Chris Simms, Mike Florio. We took questions today, Chris, which we do when we don't have any other ideas, and sometimes the questions spark all sorts of ideas. And here's an idea. For today's PFT OT, we're just going to keep answering your questions. That way we don't have to actually come up with topics. So let's get right to it. Anthony Humdy asks or points out, the Monday Night Football game was fun to watch. Great execution, and both teams touched the ball in overtime. My favorite game of the year so far. And now here's his question. What has been your favorite game of the year so far, Chris?
Well, that was my favorite game of the year, so that. But to give a few other ones that jump out to me, I think there's three others that I would put in contention with that. Two of them are Thursday Night Football games. The Packers-Eagles game at Lambeau Field earlier in the year, I thought that was a phenomenal game to watch. The Rams-Seahawks game up in Seattle was another phenomenal. And then the Sunday night Ravens-Patriots game, I think just because it's the Patriots, we're not used to seeing them reeling like that. Lamar Jackson on the big stage. Those would be the three others that jump out to me.
Texans-Saints was an awesome game, Week 1, the early Monday night game. We kind of forgot about it because we're basking in the glow of the season coming back, but that was a game that really, really stands out. The Vikings-Cowboys game from Sunday night was a great game, 28-24, back and forth, 14-point lead. Disappears, and then the second half is that roller coaster affair that the Vikings ultimately hold on to win. But yeah, I'd say the best game of the year so far is the one we saw Monday night. And again, the recency bias creeps in, but it was overtime, the full 70 minutes. The Seahawks had it 3 times. The 49ers had it twice in overtime. There were mood swings and momentum swings and all sorts of swings.
Well, what was it? Third best winning percentage between two teams in the history of Monday Night Football, too. So, we were seeing quality teams. That's why it was some high-level play.
Yeah, it made them mention, and I remember this vividly, and I'm sure you do too as well, since your dad was playing for the Giants then, when the Giants and the 49ers were both 10-1 in 1990. That was a big deal. The game was 7-3, but it was a big deal. Is that you kept, like, I know for me each week that game was creeping closer and closer and closer, and at one point it looked like they both were going to be 11-0 going into that game.
They both lost the week before the game. The Giants, I believe, lost to the Eagles. Well, I know they lost to the Eagles, and I think the 49ers lost to the Rams the week before. That led to that. But, it was a 7-3 game that was more exciting than that. At the end of the game, my dad, the Giants, they had the ball down inside the 20-yard line 2 times and couldn't come away with points, trying to score points on, people don't talk about that 49ers defense when they were making Super Bowl runs was one of the best in football. The offense always gets a lot of the credit. But, yeah, that was that one made me cry, Mike. That hurt. That hurt as a 10-year-old Chris Simms. I was living and dying with it.
But the Giants would get their revenge in the postseason,
they
albeit
did, but
without,
my dad
without your dad on the field.
Right. He didn't get it, so that's what hurt. Yes, that hurt a little
But he still got the ring.
He still got the ring. And he was he was having the best year of his career.
That's the ring you're going to get someday, the one he didn't actually earn.
Well, no, I hope not. I was his only child that was aware of his first Super Bowl. My sister was born, but she was only 2 years old. I was 6.5 and somewhat understood the magnitude of the moment. So I'd rather have that first one if I had a choice.
I remember watching that first one, Super Bowl 21. I remember exactly where I was watching that game, and it was 10-9 at the half. The Broncos were leading, and then your dad and the rest of the Giants blew them away in the second half. All right. Next question, James McDonough, a.k.a. Dr. J144. If you're Tua Tagovailoa or Joe Burrow and potentially the number 1 overall pick, how would you feel about going to Cincinnati? Miami's coaching staff seems to be pretty good, and they play hard. Cincy doesn't look like they know what they're doing. Chris, based upon some of the things you said during PFT Live today, I think I know the answer here. How would you feel if you're the number 1 overall pick and the Bengals are thinking about taking you?
Yeah, there's concerns. I mean, there's concern. It's an unproven head coach. It's an organization that, can't win playoff games. It just never seems to kind of get over the hump into that area of, they're real contenders. I think they need rebranding in Cincinnati. You heard me say it. I think they got to change the uniform. I'm not even opposed to just changing the name in general. I'm really not. But I think at the very least, I'm done with the stripes on the helmet and all of that. Let's change it up. And also, Tua, Burrow, very good. From what I've seen on TV this year, though, the quarterback from Oregon's the best quarterback in football for my money, Justin Herbert. He would be my number one pick right now, and I haven't studied it like that. I'm just watching as a fan, but I love Tua and Burrow and what I'm seeing. They're certainly first-round talents, but I think he would be the guy that would be in the leader in the clubhouse or number one for me right now.
Hey, and we've seen it happen a couple of times. It happened with John Elway. It happened with Eli Manning, the power play that you can make as the potential number one overall pick in the draft, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think where we are now as a fan base, as a media core, maybe we will go a little easier the next time a kid says, I just don't want to go there.
Right.
I know I'm behind it. I'm in full support of it, of a player saying, I choose not to go there, especially when you have the power that goes along with being the number one pick in the draft. And I would be very leery about playing for the Bengals for a variety of reasons, because it does feel like they've got a long way to go. And, you know, there were a lot of folks who wanted to get rid of Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis is looking pretty good.
Yeah, that's
now,
right. That's right. And
where the Bengals are without him.
More importantly, do you agree with my uniform rebranding kind of thing? Do I have any credibility there in your mind?
Well, you have no credibility at all generally, but I never liked the idea of the Cincinnati Bengals, right? It was always a weird, like, are you Tigers? Are you Bengal Tigers and you're just too lazy to say Bengal Tigers? Do you think it's cool to just say Bengals? And I remember back in the 70s when it was the orange helmet that just had Bengals written out because they couldn't think of what logo they'd even want to put on their damn helmet.
Yes.
They just wrote the name of the team on the helmet.
Right.
So, yeah, I could get behind it. I know there's one other team that I think needs to be rebranded for different reasons altogether, but after taking care of that team, then I would turn my attention on rebranding the Bengals.
Okay. I think I know
can
that
tell where you want to go with that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. More importantly, Marcus Barone, a.k.a. Bambino Barone, says more Viking horn sounds, please.
Skull, go Kirk Cousins.
Is that really a Viking horn?
I don't know what it is. It's my best impersonation, but thank you, Bambino Barone. Thank you for giving me the platform to do it once again. Thank you.
Yeah, like you ever need an invitation to do it.
You're right. It just one. Well, it gave me a little crack there. I love it. I love the Viking horn.
Right. Gigi McDonell, if you had to pick one, what would you say the biggest weaknesses are for the following teams? My God, she's got 6 teams here. The Ravens, the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Saints. Let's just rip through them. Ravens, what's the top weakness?
I'm going to say if they're down by 10 with 4 minutes left, I don't know if they have the firepower in the offense to come down and get in like we need to have a shootout, spread it out, throw the ball all over the field. I don't know if they have the receivers, and I just don't know if they're built that way. I think maybe that would be my thing with the Ravens.
Yeah, the quick strike passing game that you may need at some point, and that's a good point. You know, they've been so dominant. We haven't seen them in that spot where Lamar Jackson comes out and you take away the running ability, not because of anything you're doing defensively, but by virtue of the circumstance of the game. Can he win when passing is the only thing he can do, and does he have the weapons in the passing game to make it happen? I like that one. All right, the Patriots.
Offensive line, that's an easy one. The protection for Brady's probably been in the worst of his career. They can't run the ball like they really want to. They want to be a run-first football team. That's it for me.
Seahawks. Now, I was going to say defense generally, but the front 7 played extremely well the other night, and they got some great play out of Quandre Diggs in the secondary. The secondary is not what it used to be. Relative to the Legion of Boom, the secondary is the glaring weakness for the Seahawks. I
think you're spot on there. And then like you said, if the front 4 and front 7 can play that way, that'll go a long way to helping out that secondary. But, yeah, the corner play there is just not special. But you're spot on with Quandre Diggs. I mean, he certainly popped in that game the other night. 49ers,
look, it's going to seem like we're bashing on Jimmy G, but that's the biggest glaring weakness, isn't it?
It's the biggest question. I mean, I don't want to go. It is. I mean, we don't know yet. And again, I'm not hitting the panic button from the other night, but he still has not proven to us when Shanahan's not on fire and the run game's not on fire that he can carry the load that way against the top tier teams in the NFL. So yes, that is their biggest weakness.
Dallas Cowboys, I think you and I both agree that coaching, whether it's the defensive coaching, and you talk all the time about they have 2 defenses, Jason Garrett's very rigid and inflexible approach, And, they got the players. They
Yeah.
got the players. If they don't make it to the playoffs this year, it's not because of the talent. It's because of the coaching. And the contract expires for Jason Garrett when the season ends, and I think his time with the Cowboys expires as well.
Yeah, and it's not the offense to me. I'm okay with the offense. I mean, they're special. They do some good things on that side of the ball. They're pretty creative. I mean, they're the number one offense in football right now. I mean, the number one. But the defense, like you said, is my issue. No game plan specific defenses. The NFL's changed. You can't just be, this is what we do. We're going to be sound and we're not going to mess up. Quarterbacks and receivers have gotten too good. Offensive coordinators have gotten too creative. Kids are playing 7-on-7 from the time they're 7 years old. If you're going to play these coverages, they're going to be all over it. That's my biggest issue with the Cowboys.
How about the Saints? I'm very curious to see what you're going to say their biggest weakness is.
I want to say downfield passing game. I think that's the only thing that I look at because I think their defense is still really, really good. I think their front seven, okay, if I was going to say one thing about their front seven, it lacks speed, but its physicality and size is great. When Marshawn Lattimore is healthy, they're a good secondary. I think it is going to be the ability to back people off a little bit, so then all their underneath Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara routes are open. I think the Atlanta kind of showed that a little this week, that they were not going to back off. They were not scared of the downfield threat from the Saints.
And based on what we saw this week, I'd say the offensive line creates some concern, which plays into the downfield passing game. You have to have a quarterback who can still unleash it down the field, and there are legitimate questions about soon-to-be 41-year-old Drew Brees when it comes to the arm strength and the ability to get the ball down the field. But if you don't have time to set up and throw it and find a guy open, it doesn't matter. And the offensive line, based upon how the Falcons manhandled them this weekend, I think that's all of a sudden a concern, Chris.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad, I'll say this, Mike, as I thought when you and I were watching on TV on Sunday, because I did watch this film on Monday, and it was coverage issues really for the first 2.5 quarters. And then when the Falcons got up like 23-9 and 26-9, and they knew, okay, there's no threat of the run game, they did have their way rushing the passer. And that, even with that and knowing that they're not going to run the ball, that was surprising because that Saints offensive line is usually one of the best in football. Andrews Pete got hurt during the game. That hurt them. But, yeah, that was a poor showing by them.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. We've covered all those teams. This is Broncos fan at Broncos66511239. Got to get the Twitter handle just right. Any truth to Jeff Bezos looking to buy an NFL team? The Broncos really need a new owner. Look, I know that Jason Lockenfor reported over the weekend that Bezos is sniffing around, and I've seen Bezos at NFL-related events whether it's he's trying to make a play for more NFL rights. He's trying to make a play for a team, whatever the case may be. The group of people in the United States who have the money to buy and operate an NFL franchise is shrinking all the time because the value of these teams keeps going up and up and up. And that's a concern for the league. I've been told that they may have to consider revisiting their rules for ownership because there just aren't enough really, 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 really rich people who have the money that it takes to own one of these teams given the value. Bezos definitely does. It wouldn't surprise me if he tries to get into it at some point.
He could buy the league, couldn't he? I mean, he
could buy the league and all the networks.
Yeah. Right.
The observation that the Broncos really need a new owner. Look, the Broncos have a group of trustees who will eventually pick one of the 7 children of the late Pat Bowlen to become the owner of the team. It's this intra-family Willy Wonka competition where one of them will emerge, and one of them has emerged. Brittany Taylor, who I think is still in her 20s, she's being groomed to take over. Now, if it ultimately turns out that none of the children can take it over, then the trustees have the authority to sell the team. But I don't think the Broncos are going to be sold. I think they're going to stay in the family with Brittany Bowlen running the show. So that's not an issue. And look, these teams don't come open very often. But maybe the next time someone is ready to sell, Jeff Bezos is the guy who swoops in. All right, Frank Chavaweeee. Chris, what the hell is the problem with Chris Richard? Doesn't have Legion of Boom talent, but he's got a pretty good defense to work with. Why does he look like a defensive Jason Garrett?
Well, we kind of hit on this. It's just it's too simple. For this day and age in football right now, the league has changed. Receivers are special. The quarterbacks are special. I mean, look, you watch the college football game, LSU, Alabama, right? I mean, they're throwing it 45 times a game, both quarterbacks. They got reps. So to play the same defense every game and just think, oh, we're talented enough to overcome it. No, the other team's got pros too. They're going to pay a lot of money, and their coaches are getting paid too. And also with the Legion of Boom, especially, it is all over the league now. But at the time when it came out and Gus Bradley was the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, it was revolutionary. I mean, people couldn't figure out what the rules are and what the defense was. I was working for the Patriots at the time for the you mad at me bro game, right? When Richard Sherman yells at Tom Brady as he's walking off the field. And I remember breaking the game down 2 weeks ahead because that was my job to have it ready for when we got into the week of Seattle. And I was like, I can't figure this out. Is this man? Is this zone? One play, the guy covered him like it was man, and then the next play, it was the same defensive lineman, and it was zone. And I had to go down to some of the offensive coaches in New England, and it was like, you got to help me out here. And even they were like, wait, hold on a second. So they had great talent, and it was a scheme that was cutting edge. Now everybody does it. There's like 8 teams in football that have the scheme. Everybody's built an inventory for plays off of it, and we know about it, and they just got to change it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And when you look at how simple the offense has been, now they've complicated it somewhat this year with Kellen Moore as the coordinator. It just doesn't add up to a great outcome for the Cowboys. And again, they got to get to the playoffs. The backs are against the wall. And if they don't get to the playoffs, I think there's going to be some major, major changes in Dallas. All right, that's it for this Wednesday PFTOT. Maybe this is our new Wednesday tradition. We just answer questions. It's a hell of a lot easier than having to think of things to talk about. We will think of more things to talk about on Thursday. We'll be getting you ready for Steelers at Browns on Thursday night, plus plenty more. Check us out all day long at ProFootballTalk.com. A new Chris Simms Unbuttoned. What the bleep happened coming later today. And tomorrow,
what the f happened, Mike?
Mega pick podcast.
Screw you, Florio.
Where we get to review
how
we did last week. One of us was 3-10. That's all I'm going to say about it for now.
Man,
see everybody tomorrow. Have a great day.
Crap the bed. Damn it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.